It's my pleasure to introduce Jia Li, who is a PhD in psychology at the University of England, who works in self-organizing processes in the brain, a nicely broad category. And Jia got her bachelor's in statistics from University of Science and Technology in China.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The research question of my work is about how the log-normally distributed connection strengths emerge in brain. So as you may know, many features of brain follow a right-skewed heavy-tail distribution, typically in the form of log-normal distribution. In this work, we focus on the log-normality of neuronal connection strengths, because brain functions rely on the interactions between neurons, and these interactions are determined by the neuronal connections. The log-normality of neuronal connection strengths is hypothesized to support efficient and economic information processing. However, there is no good explanation to how this log-normality emerges. So here we give a mechanistic way to generate log-normally distributed strengths. We hope that our model can bring some new insights into this phenomenon. So to address this question, we build upon our previous recently published paper, where we use structural plasticity on weighted directed network. We obtained a nice structure which supports context-sensitive processing. However, the connection strengths were kept fixed there. So we keep what we did in our previous study and incorporate synaptic plasticity to see if we can get log-normally distributed strengths. So let me jump into the details. We are gonna have a weighted directed network. For a connection from node J to node I, we denote its strength as Wij(T). Here, T represents the step of simulation. And we start from a directed network with random connections and normally distributed strengths. For the dynamics on the network, there are two ways to model it. The first one is consensus dynamics. Yeah.
Is this an Bayes-Law network or
Sorry?
can the weights have either sign?
No, only positive.
Only positive.
Yeah. So here it's a abstract model. So each node represents like a cluster of neurons. So the inhibition increases the the first one is consensus dynamics, where the state of a node is adjusted according as the weighted average of its presynaptic neighbors' states. So in this video, you will see that the state of this node is influenced by its presynaptic neighbors. Yeah. Okay. So the second way to model dynamics is advection, where the state of a node will be transported to its postsynaptic neighbors. So in this video, you will see the state of the middle node increases by receiving signals from its presynaptic node and decreases by sending signal to its postsynaptic node. Okay. So in both cases, there exists a closed form of how the node states evolve. So we don't need to really simulate the activity of the network. Here, x0 represents the initial state and xc represents the state at time t. So the matrices CT and AT can characterize the interactions between all neurons. Now we can discuss how to change the network connections. First, we use adaptive rewiring as a parsimonious model of structural plasticity. The gist is to remove the connections between nodes that interact rarely and add shortcuts between nodes that interact intensely. So at each rewiring step, we just randomly choose a node. Suppose this green one is chosen. And then we randomly decide to rewire its incoming connection or outgoing connection. Suppose we are going to rewire its outgoing connection. And the color of each node represents its the intensity of its interaction to the green one. So the connection to the node which interact least intensely to the green one will be cut. So we will cut this connection. And it will be redirected to the node which interact most intensely to the green one, but and connected to it previously. So we will get this after this rewiring step. In a previous study showed that when rewiring incoming connections, using consensus to model the network activity can give out degree halves. And when rewiring outgoing connections using advection to model the network dynamics can give in degree halves. So we follow it here. For synaptic plasticity, the strength of all connections will adjusted by a Hebbian rule. The strength increment is proportional to the interaction of two vertices of each connection. Still, the interaction can be modeled by consensus or advection dynamics, which will be determined previously to each simulation. And we know that Hebbian plasticity alone will lead to unrestrained growth of strength. So we complement it with a multiplicative form of synaptic normalization. So when using consensus to update strengths, we keep the sum of incoming connection strengths to be constant for each node. And when using advection to update strengths, we keep the sum of outgoing connection strengths to be constant for each node. Then for networks obtained from the simulation, we test the strength distribution if the strength distribution is log normal in the following way. So first, we check if the distribution deviates from normal. If the strength distribution is significantly different from a normal distribution, when then test if its skewness is higher than a normal distribution, which means it is right skewed. And if the strength distribution is also right skewed, we finally test if it is compatible with log normal. So let's start from a simpler model where we only change the connection strengths with adaptive, with adaptive reweighting. So in this situation, the majority of the connection strengths are extremely small. The distribution, the strength distribution are significantly different from normal. Here, the two dashed line are significance level 0.05 and 0.01. And the strength distribution are right skewed, but they are not log normal. Then we try if we only use adaptive rewiring while the strength increments obtained from adaptive reweighting are randomly shuffled across all connections. In this case, the connection strength shrink toward 1, and the strength distribution are compatible with normal distribution. Then we finally, when we use both adaptive rewiring and adaptive reweighting, we get right-skewed and heavy-tailed strength distribution, and they are significantly different from normal and right-skewed. And when using consensus to update strengths, the strength distribution is compatible with log normal after 20 million steps. So we show that to obtain log normally distributed connection strength, we need both adaptive rewiring and adaptive reweighting. In addition, we found the proportion of adaptive rewiring can control the skewness of the strength distribution. So here the P rewire represents the probability to do adaptive rewiring at each step. So with probability P rewire, we do adaptive rewiring. And with 1 minus P rewire, we do adaptive reweighting. So you can see when the proportion of adaptive rewiring increases, the strength distribution become less right-skewed. So there are still something we need to work on. First, we need to find an explanation why we can get a log normal strength distribution. We think there is some multiplicative process behind our model. So we try to find some explanation about it. And the second one, as I said at the beginning, our previous model, where the connection strengths are fixed, we obtained a structure which can support context-sensitive processing. Here we also need to further investigate if the log normal strength distribution can make some contribution to this context-sensitive processing.